Right, so this video is appropriate for all year groups. It covers compound interest and depreciation, which is video 164. Okay, now looking at this starting point, simple interest versus compound interest. Now, simple interest basically means you get the same amount every year. That's what that means. So, same amount each year. Now, no bank accounts, no real life bank accounts or mortgage or any real life interest works like this. This is something that only really exists in the world of a maths exam, and it is a basic question. So if I had to work out 5% simple interest over 4 years, what I would do is work out what 5% of 1,500 is, and the way I'd do that without a calculator is probably say 10%, 150, half of that, 75, and then I've got that for 4 years, okay? So I'll times that by 4, which will give me a total of £300. So depending on what the question said, so this question is slightly vaguely worded, actually it says £1,500 at 5% simple interest. Is that asking me to work out the interest or the total? But either way, that's the interest, and therefore your new total would be £1,800. Congratulations, you've made £300. Now, compound interest, on the other hand, means that it grows at a compound rate. So it grows depending on how much is in there. So what I mean by this is 5% in the first year will be slightly less than 5% in the second year, because in the second year you've got a little bit more in the account. Here's what I mean by this. So, for example, if I did this the long way, I would say 1,500, and I'd times it by some number, or maybe, in fact, what would be easier is let's add on the 5%. I worked it out, it was £75. That's 1,575. So this is year 2, that's what I'm starting with. And then I'd have to work out 5% again. So 5% of 1,575, and that will give me, what is that, 1,575, I'm going to use a calculator. 1,575, so 5% of that is slightly more, so £78.75, excuse me, £78.75, and then I'll add that on to my new total, and that will give me what I have at the beginning of year 3, which is £1,653.75, so that's year 3, and so on and so forth. Now that takes a long time, so I'm not going to do it like that, but I'm just showing you that it grows every year, okay? But a much simpler, quicker way of doing it is to use the following formula. So this is a formula that you will need to memorize, you'll need to learn. Here is the formula. Amount times multiplier to the power of n, and n is years. So, in this case, 1,500 is the amount. The multiplier, if I'm getting 5% and it says interest, that means it's being added on. Okay, that means I'm increasing my amount by 5%. That will give me 1.05, and then to the power of years, well, that's the power of 4. So when I put that in my calculator, 1,500 times 1.05 to the power of 4, it gives me an answer of 1823.259375. And immediately you should have alarm bells ringing, because it's a money question. We're talking about real life units here, so I can't have all those decimal places. Money, I want pounds and pence, which is 2 decimal places. So my final answer will be, with a pound sign, £1,823.26. That is how much money I have at the end. Or if the question said work out the interest is £323.26. Okay, that's how much extra I learned. So take a look at this question then. It's asking you to work out how much money he has in his savings account at the end of the 2 years. So do it as I did in the previous example. Have a go now, pause the video and try it. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a depreciation question. Okay, obviously it has the word depreciate in it. That's a big clue straight away. But the meaning of depreciation is effectively the opposite of interest. So if a car, for example, in this case, Greg bought a new car for £18,000, and in the first year it depreciated by 30%, that means it loses value. Okay, loses value each year. Now, most fixed assets tend to lose value. Not all. So typically things like houses tend to go up in value over time. Again, that's not always the case, but typically speaking, that does tend to happen. Cars tend to go down in value. So if you buy a car brand new, it's worth, let's say £20,000. If you try and sell it a year later, you're not going to be able to sell it for £20,000. It will have gone down in value. Okay, that is called depreciation. Okay. Now, in this question, Greg bought a new car for £18,000. So my starting amount then is £18,000. In the first year, it goes down by 30%. So what I'm left with, okay, as a multiplier, that's 100%, take away 30%, which is 70%. And then to turn it into a multiplier, we divide that by 100, which gives us 0.70. So 18,000 times 0.70, and that is just for 1 year, the first year, so to the power of 1. And that will give me the amount, the value of the car after 1 year. So 18,000 times 0.7 to the power of 1. And that tells me at the end of year 1, or at the start of year 2, it's worth £12,600. Hooray. Now, next, what you need to look at next, excuse me. So what you need to look at next is the second and the third years. So this is our starting point for year 2. So our new starting amount is that. And in the second and the third year, it depreciates by 14%. Now, what you've got to remember is that this is 14% off of the new amount. So do not take it off of our 0.70, because effectively that's dealt with now. That we can sort of draw a line under that. That was only for year 1. Now for year 2, if I just sort of draw a line under here, for year 2, we're starting with our new 100%. Now if I do 100% and I take off 14%, I'm now left with 86%, which as a multiplier, dividing it by 100, gives me 0.86. So it's 12,600 times 0.86, and this is second and third year. Okay, so to the power of 2, and that will give me the value of the car after times 0.86 to the power of 2. That there is the value of the car after 3 years, £9,318.96. So that will be what I write on the answer line. Okay, 9318.96. So I'd encourage you to try a question now for yourselves, another depreciation question. The reason that I quite like this question here is because it's a little bit different. Okay, so this question says, Nick bought a new car. Each year the car depreciates by 12%. Work out the number of years it takes for the car to half in value. Now, they haven't given you a starting amount. No starting value. So, as my class know, hopefully, what I've told them to do is just give it your own number. Just say it costs, I don't know, £1,000. I don't know how much a new car costs. That tells you how often I buy cars. I'm not much of a car buyer. Mr. Iqbal is the man you want to speak to about this. But, you know, a new car, let's say it costs £5,000. So what I'm basically saying to you is, if it depreciates 12%, first you need to work out your multiplier. So I'll let you do that. So multiplier, that's your first step. That's step number 1. And then once you've done that, you're just going to trial and error. So step number 2 is trial and error. So you'll try how many years, so times something to the power of n, how many, whatever number has to go in this until it gets to half of that value. What's half of 5,000? 2,500. So basically just keep trying different numbers. So once you've worked out the multiplier, 0 point something something in there, then keep trying different numbers. Anyway, I've given you enough help. So pause and have a go.